And we are live. This is Kryptonite Dragon with trophiesonpsn.com. Today I will be joined by StarGate. Hello, StarGate.
How are you?
I want to start off by a little introduction here. What's going on in the news? We've had some changes in staff. Namely, we've had Tiger Lust has decided to step down. We're going to be making a few other changes. We've added Warbear to the staff recently, who will be in charge of everything clan recruiting. She will be taking on the task of trying to build that section out. She'll be inviting some clans over, most namely from Modern Warfare 3, and then hopefully in the future we can continue that into some other games. Also, you may notice that Taz has moved. He is no longer going to be over the clans, hence Warbear's moved to that position. Taz will be in charge of video showcasing. He will basically sort out the videos from YouTubers as they come over, because we're also going to be trying to hit that up and get some YouTubers over to our site to post parody videos, tutorials, commentaries, the like. Also, we'll be creating a position for Clarks and Scrubs. Both those guys have been more than happy to take over some of the gaming night activities. And of course, we're going to have a lot more site competitions as it relates to, let's say, both arcade games, gaming night events, things like that we'll be adding, even some stuff with the Trophy Chase Club. And they'll be taking care of all that. And then lastly, you guys may be familiar with Dante Zero. Dante's been doing a lot of things with reviews, and I've recently been talking to him quite a bit about taking over social media for the website. As we expand into the Facebook realm, YouTube, some other things like that, we're going to need somebody to kind of be the communication front end on those channels. And also Dante does a lot of stuff with news. I anticipate he will also have a lot of his own videos and may even likely be involved in our future podcasts. So what do you think of that, StarGate? Does that sound like a lot of movement, a lot of motion going on there?
A lot of movement. I'm actually very excited. I want to see more reviews. I've been reading a lot of Dante's reviews lately, and they're just awesome. I actually recently read his latest, actually a preview rather than a review of Assassin's Creed 3, and it has me so psyched about the game. I really can't wait.
Yeah, I would love to get our news directed in that to get some more stuff on what's coming instead of just kind of talking about what's out. And Dante is certainly up on that. He does a lot of stuff with the Vita as well. I'm really excited to have him do some, reviews of some of the Vita titles, so we don't forget about those folks. Exactly. Even though I don't know the Vita yet, I'm teetering on the edge. It's a pretty interesting product. It's clear that that'll have a lot of interactivity going forward, especially probably with the PS4. So it's pretty neat to see that. So.
Definitely is.
And some other things we got going on right now, we're kind of picking our ideas for the next game night. One of the things I talked to Scrubs recently about, opening up all the games except for the last one that we played. Grand Theft Auto was a good time. So I look forward to whatever our next game night is. Just judging by it, most people pick some obscure game that they like, but, we're going to have to go with the most popular as it comes out. A few of the games we've played have been the Call of Duty series. We haven't played Black Ops yet, and obviously we have some anticipation for Black Ops 2, and hopefully we can do some kind of, perhaps a gaming night for a new release title. We've got a lot of stuff coming up that, like Black Ops 2 that'll be released multiplayer. Maybe we can do something with that in November. I think that comes out, November 13th?
I believe so, yes. And also, I think this is probably the busiest time of the entire year, like October, November, or like the most exciting games in my opinion that are coming out. So it's definitely going to be very exciting to see all those games. Most of them have multiplayer, so we'll have lots of choices to pick from.
Yeah, let's spend a little time here talking about that today. But first off, let's get to know StarGate a little bit. Tell us about StarGate.
All right, StarGate. Now, let's talk about my name first. Like as some of you may know, StarGate SG-1 was probably one of the longest-lasting sci-fi TV series. I think they had, I forget exactly how many, maybe like 12 seasons. Don't quote me, but I forget. It's been a while since I'm watching it. But ever since then, I just, I like the series, so I created my name afterwards. And other than that, I've been gaming, let's say, I could probably date my gaming back to 1991. I think my very first game that I played was on the Game Boy, and I believe it was Metroid, which was absolutely awesome. And you know what the fun thing about that is? That not until recently, when I say recently, I believe a month or so ago, G4 TV made the top 100 games of all time.
Yeah.
And Metroid was actually one of them. And I didn't actually know that the main character was actually a female. That's strange. I didn't know that. Like all these years, like 20 years down the road, and then you find something that...
Hey, that's okay. You know, I play Mass Effect 3, and I always make a female shepherd. You know, I don't know. It's more fun to look at the backside of the female character, but you know, don't let that sway you. I think of all the female gamers out there. They have to play males all the time. They're forced to play a male character, no matter what game they play.
No, I mean, it doesn't sway me. Just you would assume, but you know, there you go again. Never make an assumption.
Yeah, of course. Back then, you know, when you're talking about pixels, you know, things like that are harder to see and make out and tell. You know, is it a, you know, what is it?
Even if you could see, you wouldn't be able to tell anyway because she was wearing like a sort of like an alien, like outer space costume, so you couldn't tell anyway. Everything was covered. It just looked so masculine, like all those powers and everything. It was just incredible.
Cool. So you have over 20 years of gaming. Did you stay with gaming the whole time, like all the way up through to PlayStation?
Not really. I've actually had quite a few code years, you could say. Like when I was in college, I actually purposely did not buy any gaming console or any game simply because I'm such a gaming freak that it would take so much time away from me that I wouldn't be able to study or pass my exams. So towards the end of my, I guess, school, you could say, like my last year of school when I was graduating, my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, bought me a PS2, and it's a shame because she bought it for me like about a month or two before the PS3 came out. So, and then she bought me the PS3. It was a waste, but it was good nonetheless. And of course, my first PS2 game was God of War 1. I was so excited about that one. Ever since then, I've been pretty much comparing every story mode games like hack and slash to God of War, and then some recent games that are just so incredible.
Now, did you have any stint with PC games? Did you ever try any of those, or?
I did actually. I think I played PC games during my high school years. I played some weird ones that I don't think many people have heard. I don't even remember some of them by name. I think the three that I do remember were the Prince of Persia, which was basically available on a PS3 for the trilogy, like the Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and the Two Thrones. Those were pretty good games for PC at the time.
Cool. So, like, we're coming up to the end of the year, like you said. We're winding up to the big gaming season. We've got a lot of stuff. You know, Resident Evil, there's already people playing Resident Evil 6, so it wasn't supposed to be out until the 2nd. Yeah. I guess a lot of people... Go ahead, I'm sorry?
It's not even out, and people have been playing for the past week or two.
Yeah.
You're so jealous.
Yeah, they must have got it early. I think there was a few people that received it early, obviously. But so we've got Resident Evil 6, you know, Borderlands 2, you know, The Last of Us, Assassin's Creed 3 in October, Black Ops 2 November.
You got Hitman Absolution, don't forget that.
Absolution, Dishonored. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming the first part of next year too. I mean, Dead Space 3, Metal Gear's getting another title. We're still waiting on the Dawn Guard DLC.
Yeah, I heard there was some issues with that one for the PS3.
There's a Battlefield 3 expansion pack. What are they? In-game, I think is what it's called. So there's a lot of stuff coming the end of this year, first part of next year. And I guess my big thing is I'm wondering how that's going to relate to, you know, the next consoles coming out. Are some of these titles probably going to get pushed back? Or are some of them going to be kind of dead in the water? Are they going to be, I guess, half-ass attempts by publishers before, PS4s and stuff come out, and so they're not going to be as geared towards utilizing the full potential of the PS3 because they're already looking far ahead, or they're going to crank these titles out so they can start working on the other stuff, and I'm just kind of a little bit worried about that because next holiday season, about 1 year away, is when PlayStation 4 and of course the next Xbox and stuff's supposed to come out. So,
see, the thing is, I'm kind of curious because I don't know what the percentage would be, but not all games actually use the full potential of the PS3 system.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of graphics, gameplay, what have you. I mean, and it's just that if you have a PS4, they haven't even caught up to a PS3, and then they have to catch up to a PS4. I'm a little kind of. I just want to see it. I can't wait to see what the transition will be. I mean, speaking of PS3 games, if you remember, LA Noire was probably the biggest game in terms of game data. I believe it actually filled a Blu-ray disc, which was, don't quote me, but I believe it was over 20 gigabytes of data. And that was a lot for a game.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I guess there was something, I didn't really look into this too much, but Xbox having a lot of discs because they didn't have the storage of the Blu-ray.
DVD only, 4 or 5 gigabytes? So...
Well, I think, what's really weird is you can see that the consoles are clearly moving towards digital downloads. That's why all the PlayStation, the newer consoles are coming out with 250 gigabyte and 500 gigabyte drives. So that makes me wonder, too, if, we're going to see the end of the disc era where you're going to have, you're just basically not going to be able to buy a game in a store. You're going to have to download it. It's kind of weird because you can't sell it. If you do that, you can't trade it with a friend. You can't take it over to a friend's house without having to go sit and wait on the download.
Yeah, I'm very strongly against that. And not only that, I mean, even though probably about 99% of gamers probably do have internet connection, I mean, I don't know what the percentage, I'm just guessing 99%, but if they make digital downloads only, then people who don't have internet or who have a slow internet will take them forever to download it. I mean, a full game would take them, maybe sometimes a day or so, depending on the connection.
Yeah.
I mean, and only that, once you buy it, you can't trade it, like you said. So it's, in my opinion, I'll still stick with the disc. That's my opinion. I love this. I love
this goes back to this goes back to similar to the online pass thing that you hate.
Oh yeah.
I think everybody knows that you're really against that. It's it's the kind of thing where if they keep taking this same route and nobody says anything or does anything, it's just they'll just do it without much care. I think majority of the world also seems to have internet, and America. There's a lot of places in America where we still have slow internet. There's a project by the government here to expand broadband and get it into all the areas in the country and stuff like that. But, I don't think people are aware that a large portion of the world has very good internet that plays games. The U.S. is a little bit behind in that regard, but, I can go download a Mass Effect 3 or something like that, and I have to leave my PlayStation on for a day and a half to get the entire game downloaded.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. If they don't do something to make it, a little bit more convenient and make those speeds faster, these digital downloads could be a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, I would, even if they do come out that way, I'm probably not gonna get any game that way. Probably maybe like a PSN game, but other than that, not really. And as far as the online pass, I don't know. That this conversation wouldn't last long enough. Wouldn't be long enough for me to say what I feel. Let's leave it at that.
Too much profanity.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So let's switch gears and let's talk about your favorite titles coming out. I know Assassin's Creed is one of them. Let me just start off by saying that that's the only game that I've ever had that I played for an hour, and I immediately took it out of my PlayStation and mailed it off. I literally took Assassin's Creed out of my PlayStation after about an hour and just sent it out. I sold it on eBay. I get rid of the thing. I understand the recent Assassin's Creeds are a lot better and stuff, but originally when I played it, I couldn't stand the jumping from the rooftop thing. Was the exact same in my mind. The killing, and I'd ride a horse fast past guards and they would attack me, and I was frustrated with it. I had generally a bad experience with Assassin's Creed. I wasn't happy with it at all. So tell me what it is about Assassin's Creed you like so much, and what are you looking forward to, and tell us about Assassin's Creed 3.
Well, honestly, the reason probably I like Assassin's Creed, and I'll probably put Uncharted in the same category, is because I'm sort of, how do I say this? I like historical games, sort of like ancient, that take place maybe 500, 1,000, 2,000 years ago, things like that. Like, I'm not as interested in modern games because the story you can't really play around that much. With like, historical games, there's so much mystery behind it that it just excites me. So, and I'm like, world history and ancient history is probably like one of my favorite subjects. So, like Assassin's Creed 3, just the story was so incredible, all these secrets, and you never know what's around the corner in terms of the story, and just what can I say? Drove me crazy. And Uncharted series, probably Uncharted 1 and 2 would be my favorite. They're absolutely superb. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless to the truth. But Assassin's Creed 3, I'm kind of very excited to see, because they're the frontier where they're going to have over 24 of animals. You can actually hunt and sell their skin and sell it for, I guess, for currency. It's very interesting, and they have a new engine. They have the season system where like summer versus winter and so on. And when it's snowing, and if you're walking on snow, you're walking actually slower. So they introduced some new weapons like the rope, the tomahawk. So it's dual wielding. It's just very exciting. Like, I really can't wait. That's probably my most excited moment of this year, I would say.
It's funny how you mentioned the engine, because we've talked a lot about Fallout, and you've always talked about how they haven't improved the Fallout series with some of the lag problems and stuff like that. And I always talk to you about that engine, because when a publisher starts using that, they typically get locked into a couple of titles that they'll use the same engine, and that's part of where that always comes from, is if you don't have that good engine running in the background when you go across a kind of a server boundary or something along those lines, basically where it's trying to load a whole bunch of stuff in the distance, then you can get quite a lot of problems. And you've had that with the Fallout series a little bit.
Like a lawyer or have too much of a legal jargon, but I would assume that in their contract there's some kind of I guess like a loophole where if the engine they're using creates too many problems, bugs, what have you, that there's some kind of way of getting out of the contract for requesting an improvement or an update on the engine. But it's a shame, because Fallout, in my opinion, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, absolutely zero improvement. I mean, the story is one thing, and the weapons, probably they added 1 or 2 weapons. I don't exactly remember how many, but the fact that I froze so many times, it ruined my game experience. And it's a good game. It's just the bugs and the freezing, it just kind of screwed it up for me.
Well, how many games nowadays though are there? There's bugs, there's glitches. It seems to me like it's getting almost near impossible with the scope of the games they're building, the scope of the sheer size of them, that they can't really test everything and get everything optimal before they release it, or at least they rush it out the door enough that they've always got a set date where they've got to finish. And it seems to me that just about every game you pick up, you can find something. I've had the Uncharted glitches. I've had where you can see through a wall or something, or there's like a leak in the image where you can see stuff through a wall. I've had errors with, certainly, Call of Duty series is the perfect example of that. We've been talking about all the problems with it, the lag and things, and it's experienced by a whole lot of people. And you think they would fix something like that, but, at the same time, they crank it out and they release it, and people buy it. I don't know.
See, the thing is, Call of Duty is mostly hackers and cheaters and such, because it's the multiplayer portion, not really the story. So that's one thing, but for Fallout, there's no multiplayer, there's no story, and it's not, the thing that got me mad is not that it has bugs, but the fact that it took them forever, or if they actually ever did, to create an update or patch that fixes it. Because, I don't know, it took me months to years to finally get an improved version of it. Yeah. Anyway.
So tell us about some of the other titles you're looking forward to. Have you actually given some thought to Black Ops 2? Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yes, I already have it pre-ordered, actually, and they're actually creating quite a few changes. And
futuristic.
Now, probably the most significant, I would say, is probably the kill streak. Kill streaks are no longer kill-based, meaning where you can camp and just get 10 kills and get the kill streak. Not anymore. They're actually objective-based, which is probably good for all those people that play objectives and hate people that just camp and get killed. So that's one big improvement. Basically, for example, if you go capture the flag, you get more points versus killing 2 people or something like that. Like capture the flag, let's say, would be maybe 150 points, and killing 2 people would be 50 each, so it would be 100, something like that. Now, the only thing that I really want to find out is whether the points actually stack. For example, if you die, do they reset? Or, for example, if you do get your first kill streak, would the kills from that kill streak lead you towards the second and third? I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, I don't know if they leaked that information out yet, but I'm really, looking forward to finding that out. And there's one other major thing, which is kind of bad for me because I'm somewhat of a camper, but the Assassin's perk is actually changed. And by that I mean, if you stay in one spot for so long, I don't know how many seconds, maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds, time, but you will actually show on the map if somebody has a UAV. So camping is somewhat disabled. So it's basically, they created the game around constant movement. Like you have to go to the objective. You can't just sit in one place and just pick people off as they come by, as they pass by. So it's a brand new style, in my opinion. They're forcing people to play a different way.
Supporting running and gunning versus camping and sniping and things like that.
I mean, I would love to have the option of camping, but the fact that they're taking it out, it's kind of, I don't know.
Sounds like we'll have a lot of people, that love the quick scoping and hanging in corners are probably going to be pretty upset.
I don't mind the quick scoping, but I do mind the aimbot scoping. That really drives me insane.
Well, one of the things that happens with the quick scopers that I've done a little bit of research on. I've watched a lot of videos, and I've actually went into some matches and watched kill cams and everything else. And it looks like a person just scopes in and instantly shoots you in the head. And the reality is that the kill cams don't look anything like what really happened. A person can spend a couple seconds zooming in on your head and taking the shot, and then on the kill cam it looks like they just instantly gravitated right to your head and took the shot. And that's part of the problem that creates that, where people are real ticked off, especially about sniping. Modern Warfare 3, the kill cams are just completely off. It's amazing. And, there's even all these trick scope, guys and all this other stuff even take advantage of that to make all these videos where they jump in the air and spin around 3 times and snipe your head without really looking. And the reality is they jump in the air and spin around and then take a couple seconds aiming at your head, but the kill cam makes it look like they're just something special. And it's kind of weird that they do that. My biggest thing is I'm a realist. I like more of the realism factor, and when someone runs with a sniper rifle and then just keeps pulling the trigger and they hit you after a couple shots, that gets on my nerves because it's a one-shot kill.
Yeah.
Versus you're there with a shotgun and you're shooting them in the head 4 times with a shotgun, and I think I'd rather take my chances with a shotgun at close range than giving someone a sniper rifle just sitting there pulling the trigger.
Yeah. Well, actually, even the shotguns are not. It's weird that somebody would. I've actually gotten shot with this shotgun, but I think it was spot the SPAS from literally like halfway across the map with that shotgun, but yet with one, of course, with one shell. But if I try to do that, it doesn't work for me.
Doesn't happen.
It's so interesting. I mean, I have a pretty good connection. I don't understand it. It's just,
well, all things being the same, I think there's still a problem with the online multiplayer in terms of getting that up to a spot where it's fair. Everybody claims like, well, when I'm the host, I lag, or when I'm somebody on the team's got a bad connection, and who's to say what's really the truth there, because you can be host sometimes and have a great game. You can have other times where you're the host and that's what the lag is caused by, and it's just so hard to imagine that they can get that squared away when they go from giving you the ability to select hosts from a certain area to taking all those features out, and it still, across several series, still doesn't work efficiently. There's no way a majority of people should be complaining about lag problems regularly in an online game if it's fully functional. So I don't know what the answer there is. Maybe it just doesn't work yet with the state of the internet around the world, but certainly it's something they need to work on. And I hope Black Ops 2 will be a little bit better. Black Ops multiplayer, looking back on it, was pretty good. I would say I had less lag and problems than I do with Modern Warfare 3. Of course, I'm not a fan of the zombies. I'd rather that was its own game and not part of my war shooter. But I'm kind of torn between that. I like the Black Ops multiplayer. I like how they had a lot of stuff added in there. And then Modern Warfare 3, I like the storyline, the single-player campaign a lot better. I just wish they'd figure something out. So November 13th, I guess we have to look forward to it. So it looks like I'll see you on there.
Yes,
looks like we'll try to have a game night centered around that, even if it's kind of an intermittent one. We need to get these folks into some shooters, because that seems to be the common theme. It's the most online multiplayer. I know everyone wants to play racing and things, and shooters are kind of where the online multiplayer is. It's just the way things work. But so what do you think?
Taking over multiplayer portion.
Yeah, what do you think about some of these other things? Have you seen Dishonored yet?
I'm actually very excited.
I'm still trying to figure out what that game's about, man. I look at it and I go, what in the heck? It's like aristocrats and everybody's all warped and diseased, and it doesn't...
The good thing, the thing that's very unique in my opinion is that there's so many ways to do an objective. Like, they actually showed a few of them, and it's just... like, this person has like superpowers or something. I can't put my head around it. Like I'm trying to, let's say, compare it to another game so I can make sense of it, but I can't think of any game that's similar. It's very unique. And you know what the unique thing about it is? It's actually, if you pre-order it, I don't know if it's still available, but you actually get a set of tarot cards.
Okay. That's kind of weird. Well, I see it's industrial. It's like the steampunk,
Yep.
kind of stuff. I guess from the stuff I've seen, it's something about disease and dark forces, that kind of stuff. But I'm with you. I'm what's the objective? What's the point of the game? I don't know. I guess I guess that remains to be seen. It's some kind of first-person action is all I know. But it'd be interesting to see more about that one as it's coming out because, I dig that kind of stuff. I like some of the sci-fi element. I like when there's some mutations and there's a new, because, think about it, it's something that's just new on the horizon. It's not
Exactly.
a shooter. It's not just, your same old game. It's like they've just created something completely, new. And those are often the best titles that, they've got their own world they've created, their own plagues, their own effects on society and characters. And so it'll be neat to see that because it's got definitely got some mechanical robot
That's for sure.
types. Recognize it, time and time again as the series goes on. Hey, that's the same move from Uncharted 1. Whoop-de-doo.
No,
So,
you mentioned something about creating weapons out of material.
yes, from The Last of Us, I saw a little bit of kind of a blurb. They haven't really focused on that so much in videos, but there's a few videos where you see like an inventory, and you see like a bottle and maybe it's a bottle of whiskey, and he's got a rag or something. He makes a Molotov, things like that. And it certainly is real clear that they are not going to just overload you with ammo on the ground every 5 feet. For those that are familiar with Uncharted, you walk across ammo on the ground. It's real easy to pick up and keep your guns full. And there's a lot of series that are like that, and that's another thing that takes away from the experience. It's like it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Depending on how long after the event, guns and ammunition and stuff become more sparse, and that's exactly the way you should have. It shouldn't be you've got a machine gun against unarmed people everywhere you go.
Actually, speaking of that, when you say creating weapons, the first thing that came to my mind is Fallout 3, where you had to collect different kind of weapons to make one. I do remember there was actually, I believe, a trophy for creating, I don't know, was it 20 weapons or so?
Yeah. I don't think it's along those lines, but I do think it's certainly along the lines of making some knife running around for 3 days, shooting someone, too focused. It's too linearly, focused on the fighting aspect, and it's not focused on the whole thing. And that's why I love those games that think outside the box like that. You've got to be battling disease. Have to find water every 3 minutes of game time or I die. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I appreciate something like this that's fresh, and it's like they threw this little girl in there, and even that catches you off guard because it's like, is she like kind of the NPC that does everything? Am I going to have to fight for her and keep her safe? Is that another element of it, And I hope it is, where I look forward to there's going to be some challenges involving like finding her again and things like that, because that's a unique storyline that we haven't seen before. Having a little girl tag along with you where, okay, got to go stick up for somebody. Kind of an escort mission, as it were. So.
Well, you were supposed to. I think. Well, what's the main the story? Like you're supposed to protect her as you pass around
the main part of the story. I haven't really figured it out. I guess there's safe zones across the U.S. and for some reason you have promised to protect her, and she has to get from one safe zone to another across the country. And for whatever reason that is, like when you leave, I guess you basically become an outcast, where it's like, okay, you're no longer safe from this fungus or whatever, and you can't re-enter kind of thing, and for some reason he's agreed to take her. So I don't know that the story is fully revealed yet, but it sounds like, it's a classic escort. You've got, like I said, all these adversity things, and you've got some end goal to get her to a location. So whatever that reasoning is, that'll be the point of the game, I guess. So anyway, Grand Theft Auto.
Yes. Like, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 4, which a lot of people are like, woo! I understand.
You haven't played Grand Theft Auto 4?
Nah.
GTA Man is going to listen to this, and he's going to send you, like, a nasty gram.
I know. How can you not play this game? It's like the best game of the year. Actually, this is the game all the time. Anyway. Grand Theft Auto 5, that's definitely on my list. I can figure it down.
So why is it jumping to the top of your list? You didn't play Grand Theft Auto 4. You don't even know what you're missing.
There's a lot of games that are around it in sort of like a free roam, like in the city. Like, I believe the Mafia 2 was sort of like it. Godfather 2 was sort of like it in terms of, like, you had a big city or, big area, big map. And you were roaming, you had side quests, you had main quests, and you had different things to collect. And Grand Theft Auto actually has apparently a multiplayer portion, so it's doing better. So I can't wait. Like, lately, for some reason, I've been more like sandbox type of game rather than a linear game. For example, usually linear games have a better story simply because you don't straight out of line, you always follow the story.
Right. They can construct it and lay it out right in front of you. I know what you're saying, yeah.
As opposed to like a sandbox game, if you do the main story and then let's say you do 2 side missions, you sort of sidetrack away from the main story, and it's kind of hard to follow, but it depends on how you play. So.
Yeah, and I think, like Bethesda with Fallout has done a pretty good job with having the open world but still having the story.
Right.
The problem with that is, like you said, it can have some breaks in the story plot where I'm reminded of a few games where you've got an objective and it's like you seem like you have this timeline, but then you go and spend like 2 weeks collecting something at some other location, and then you go back to your other one that was just so urgent that you get done. So and so was kidnapped, and
Double head.
But I think it can be done. It's just that's one of those things that's going to take a lot of work to make the story much better for these open world games. But I think Grand Theft Auto series has done a great job. I liked particularly Grand Theft Auto 4 was pretty.
Have Grand Theft Auto 3 available for download to the PSN
right
now. I'm wondering. I don't think it will, but I'm wondering if it has a trophy patch.
Oh, I don't know.
But I don't think it does.
When they go back on games like that, I think it can ruin the experience too, because if you've played it and then you've got to play it for trophies.
It's not that. Actually, for some reason, I did it a few times, and I kind of promised myself not to do it again. For example, if I play a game, let's say today, and I have the greatest experience, and I remember this game as like a great game, superb game, and everything. And then let's say it has a trophy patch like 3 years down the road, and I'm like, oh yeah, 3 years down the road, and it's a good game. Sure, I'll go back and play it, and it sort of ruins my whole idea of the game. It's like the graphics are not as good, and the story with weapons. And it just seems. So I decided not to do that because I did it for a few games and I was actually sorry I did that. But I don't plan on doing that again.
Well, I was looking forward to Resident Evil 4. I was like, oh yeah, they're getting trophies for it. And then they came out with it, didn't even have a platinum. I was a little disappointed. I really loved that game, and I probably will go back and play it at some point. But it's one of those things that, the second time around you're just hesitant because, I hate to go play something again just for trophies. I started off trophy hunting, and I'd play just about anything that I get my hands on. I even played, games that my kids got. They'd get it, they'd play it, they'd unlock a trophy on my my PlayStation, and then I was like, oh, now I got to beat that, you know. And I played, I played a lot of crazy titles and stuff, and you know, at first, you know, it's really cool to hunt for trophies, and it's really neat to, you know, experience a lot of different games because of it. But at the same time, then I found games where it was like I started playing them and I got a few trophies, and then I realized I hate this game. I don't want to play it. You know, here I am. I'm stuck between trying to be the completionist. And so, I don't know. I've rethought that quite a lot, and I've decided not to pick up any game based on trophies anymore and just more go for gameplay. And you know, if I start something, I really like the game, I'm going to finish it 100%. Generally, I think I'll be able to tell what games I like and don't like, you know, by my trophy completion going forward. And Grand Theft Auto 4 was, you know, it was one of those too where, you know, the gameplay was superb, but then when everything was said and done, you had trophies glitching and stuff on the back end, and then it was kind of like it became monotonous playing the online, trying to get the money, you know, to get the platinum. Then it was like, oh, are you kidding me? It became a chore. I've got to play Grand Theft Auto online, you know, to rank up and get this last little trophy for the platinum, and you know, things like that. I've kind of vowed to myself not to let happen anymore. But
I guess we're different in that regard because I'm so sort of obsessive in terms of completion. Like I have to, if I buy a game and it has a platinum, I have to have it. Like I actually have platinum on every single game I play, except I only have one backlog, that's Max Payne 3, and I'm sort of waiting for something like a DLC to drop that one. But speaking of, you said your kids playing games on your account, and then you feel like you have to complete it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Smartphone having to complete people for no reason because brother-in-law.
Well, and
I feel for him.
You know, I mean, it's easy to say don't let somebody play on there, but that can happen. You know, I've got 3 PlayStations in the house, but mainly 2 of them we use that we have in the family room we have 2 TVs. And, you know, your account's on, you know, the other PlayStations, so it's easy to say, well, don't let them play on it, but what happens is you know, we have the auto login and all these other things, and next thing you know, they turn it on, and I was on that PlayStation, and they load up, you know, Hannah Montana or Up or, you know, Monsters vs. Aliens or something just to play.
My God.
And the next thing you know, they get some simple trophy, and there's a few of those that pop really easy. And the other thing I always did was I always played, you know, the games all the way through and left like one very easy trophy, and then I would let them, like, you know, pop that trophy. They would think that they're getting the platinum, doing all the work. I'd be, oh, look, you got me a platinum. Oh, thank you, you know. And it was just like, you know, kill one more guy or something like that. And you know, that, you know, I did that to make it fun for them, you know, with gaming and stuff. And so they're aware of trophies. And, you know, I can remember a time where my littlest one would get on there, and I'd come in and he'd be on my account, you know, and it's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm going to get you some trophies, Dad, you know. And it's like, well, you just unlocked, you know, this this game over here now because you're playing on my account. And I was like, no. So that used to get to me. You know, there's quite a few games I've played on there that I really would not have except for my children, you know, doing that. And now I'm just at the point where I've gotten a few that have kind of broke my stride, and now I look at it from the standpoint of more of the challenge. You know, if it's a game I like, you know, the Grand Theft Auto 5, I'll probably, you know, just plug away at the multiplayer until I get all those trophies, kind of thing, and until it's completed. But I'm definitely looking forward to that one. You know, I think, you know, Grand Theft Auto 5, Black Ops 2, The Last of Us, those are the titles I'm looking forward to.
See, I think they're kind of far away, aren't they? Like 2013, maybe like mid to late 2013.
Well, there's a lot of to be determined on, you know, upcoming titles. You know, that happens a lot, and I've really, that's one thing since, you know, kind of trying to keep up with the release dates on the forums that I've become really aware of is there are a lot of games that they push back the release date. It's just, it's crazy how many games they push back the release date, you know. very rarely do they push them forward. That happens occasionally, but I'm quite shocked, actually. A game can go to, November 3rd, and then you look next time and it's November 12th, and then it says January of 2013, and then it's to be announced, and you're just like, okay, wow, yeah, okay. So in the gaming world, I guess there's, deadlines. They try to put as big a crunch on themselves as they can, and it sounds a lot of times they can't deliver. So, but I'd rather a game was finished than I'd rather wait. I'm one of those guys. It would really be good if there was some almost an oversight of video game makers that that their products had to be finished and bug free.
Got it.
How many products, they release patches and stuff like that after the fact, and, there's almost no excuse in my book that...
So many times I had to, what was that button? Select, I think it was, where you press it and go to sleep. I had to press it so often so that it stays, so I don't have to redo everything.
Yeah, I didn't experience too much. I played Fallout 3 a little bit, and what happened was it was a freeze fest. And I bought the Game of the Year edition that had all the add-ons, DLC content, and all that, and it barely froze at all. And I didn't have any problems with Fallout New Vegas, as I recall. In Skyrim, I haven't experienced. I experienced one bug where I couldn't complete one of the missions, and it took a while for it unlocked on its own by leaving the area and coming back later. But other than that, I didn't experience too many problems. I found some bugs in Skyrim that I took advantage of, with skill ranking. But it's like anything else. There's glitches and bugs and most stuff, but as long as it doesn't ruin the game overall, I guess I'm okay. But sure would be nice to get the Dawn Guard DLC. It's another one that's on the TBA list, to be announced. There's a lot of talk on that as if they'll even be able to release it on PS3. From what I gather, it sounds like they can't get the story to work properly with what's already on your Skyrim disc.
I believe Scrubs actually wrote, I don't know if it was an article or something.
Yes, he did.
About the DLC and that the fact that it might not even be available for the PS2.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what they do because, when you promise something like that and you don't deliver at all, that's, it's kind of an odd situation overall. It makes you wonder, first off, there's a lot of DLC that I've seen released right after games have come out that you're like, why wasn't that just with the game? It's asinine that they didn't put it with the game disc. And then at the same time, you see things like this where, they worked on it after the fact, and then they were kind of like, uh-oh, it doesn't work. We can't get it to work on the PS3 with the storyline on the disc. And so I have confidence that they'll get it. It's one of my favorite publishers, and I certainly look forward to buying their games. They're on the top of my list. I know you're not into Bethesda as much. It's not like they're EA or anything.
EA,
but Naughty Dog, Bethesda. I've got a few publishers and developing teams that I really like.
I like Rockstar.
Rockstar. Yeah, they seem to knock it out of the park quite a bit. I like their philosophy of the open world. What's really cool about them is they are just open to having a game just have like mayhem in it, and that's one of the things that's really cool about it is, opening an open world up and then you can have like free play where you can just like RPG and dial up on the phone and get a helicopter and stuff, and how many people have played GTA and it degrades into this you're just destroying everything and you're on the top of a building and seeing how many police officers you can shoot before they kill you, and that kind of stuff's kind of a neat take on games.
It's not just the game itself, but from the way I think about them, it's like they're more like a gamer like me or you, because even when after they create the game and they introduce a DLC is not like highly overpriced like some of the other ones where like $15, $20, $10. Like their DLCs are fairly priced, I would say, compared to some of the other games.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another thing that it's also, and I think that's actually a good strategy, because when you make it lower in terms of the DLC price, more people actually download it. So I don't know. That's a good thing in my opinion.
Well, I think we should wrap it up. One of the things I will say, I'm looking forward to these new positions. Is there anything that you want to add with that in terms of the staff changes? I'm going to announce our next member of the month here in just a second, but
really can't wait to see Warfare. She's been a tremendous help. She's also the first member of the month, so really can't wait to see her contributions. I mean, I have no doubt that she'll probably do more than what I would expect, but I just can't wait.
Yes, and really, I'm going to ask right now, kind of the community. Let's think of any contest and things that you can reasonably hold, and let's get them, because I think I want to turn Clarks and Scrubs loose. On all things competition. If there's something that involves, the arcade, we have some controls and stuff for that for the scores. We should attempt to, get some site awards and get some contests going for it, because there's a lot of areas like that we can still explore and, get the trophy chase stuff kind of wound out where, there's plenty of theme clubs, there's plenty of things to race for, and the arcades is another perfect example. I'm going to try and highlight, too, each time we have one of these podcasts, I'm going to try and highlight a new arcade game. I don't know that everyone visits the arcades. It's something worth checking into. I'm going to be adding a lot more. I'm going to be adding about 300 games probably in the next couple of days, and there's some really good titles on there. I'm putting up a screenshot right now. Bullet Car.
Speaking of arcades, you know what I can't wait to see? I want to actually challenge someone and actually win.
Well, here's Bullet Car. You can give that one a look-see. It's pretty neat, and you can see. I don't know if you can see on the screen if it's visible enough, but our high scorer on that is Zol, who will be September's member of the month. So congratulations to Zol, who also recently was lucky enough to win I say lucky enough, he submitted so many guides that he was a large percentage of the draw, but he won himself a free video game. And but not related, Zol is member of the month for September. So all through October he'll wear the member of the month. We'll look forward to an interview that's being done by 50 Quid. That should be published in the next couple of days. But congratulations to Zol. And, if somebody try and knock him off the stats there for Bullet Car, he's got the high score. Let's knock him off. We can't have him at the top of too many things. And lastly, go ahead.
He's actually a trophy guy writer. He writes a lot of guides. Like I don't even know how he does it. I tried writing one, and then I get exhausted at one point. He keeps them coming like there's no tomorrow.
Yes, and English isn't his first language, so I give him mad props for doing such very clear guides, and he's definitely skilled.
I actually spoke to him like a day or two ago in a chat room, and he actually learned English by watching English movies, reading the subtitles, watching, playing games. Like when you play a game, you know how they talk. Most games are in English, and the subtitles. So that's how he learned. It's kind of astonishing.
Yeah, and I think he's studying linguistics and stuff. But we'll have to wait and read his member of the month article. Hopefully, everyone will go and congratulate him and ask him any questions. Find out a little bit about him. and encourage him to keep making those great guides. The other thing I want to ask of your members is, keep those 3D cards in mind. We've been doing a lot of stuff with, card development, and I'd like to see a lot more of those. People are making these very unique cards for themselves. I'd love to see it, create some templates and stuff without the information on there for others to use them. Let someone else use your great cards. Kruger, I'll give a shout out to him, particularly was real big on let's design this stuff and all that. Don't give that up. We are listening, and I would love to add those as an offering. Let's keep developing those 3D cards out. The other thing I want to do is really just pump up the graphics. We're going to be obviously adding a lot of challenges, and with those comes some award file designs and some banners and things like that. So encourage the membership to just keep getting in, get in those ideas for awards, and then stick around and help us design some award tiles. There's nothing cooler than you create an award, competition of sorts in your head, and then you also design the tile for it. You get the opportunity to put that in your awards. And it's all yours. You own it.
Speaking of graphics, what really excites me is that I've done a few banners for certain trophy guides, and I love it when people give me credit and have my name, banner created by so and so. It's actual recognition. I love that.
Yes.
So hopefully other members feel the same when we can give them props to their work.
Absolutely. We've got quite a lot of graphics requests and stuff that are coming, and plus we've added the large art of the month and things like that. We've added some contests for graphics. So the other thing is getting some graphics people to the site. Let's get more people involved. Invite your friends. Invite people that that are good at art. It's always been my intention to make this site available for all things gaming. Somebody's into art, even better. They're into videos, even better. Bring them over. We're going to be expanding that showcase. And one of the things I'm going to start doing with perhaps even the podcast is we'll start talking to some of these video creators. We'll do kind of some reviews. We'll talk about it. Nothing better than comparing YouTube videos and see which one we think's the best parody, for example. I'd love to do some stuff like that, but at the same time we can invite those people over. We can perhaps invite them into the conversation, and we can invite them over to post all their parody videos so that we can pick them apart and rate them. No. So, we can take a look and see what they got. And, it improves everybody's skill to get another take on it, because people like Taz really help me out where I watch, and he gives me ideas on video production and things, and things like that are only going to improve everyone's skill when they see someone else doing it a different way.
Speaking of Taz,
their questions.
The thing I look most forward to is when I watch his videos, he does something again. This is Taz the Cookie saying, he does that burping thing. I love that.
Yeah, we lost him on the first podcast. He actually, his computer shut down and restarted for an update at the exact end of the last podcast. I was like, and goodbye, and I was expecting to hear that, and it was dead silence. So what is yours? Do you have a StarGate sign off? Do you have?
Not really.
No? Okay. I guess we'll just say goodbye this time, and I look forward to the next podcasts. Keep your ideas coming, and feel free to tune in every Sunday. We're going to go shoot for a 1 p.m. start time, 1 p.m. Eastern. I know that's late for kind of a few friends overseas, but look forward to you joining the conversation, even if it's text. Putting something in the chat and talking to us, we'll respond to you. And Stargate, I want to thank you for being on today.
Thank you
for all your input, and I look forward to having you on in the future again. We'll talk some more about games.
Yep, I can't wait to quick scope your butt.
Is that a Call of Duty challenge? Let's do it. All right, folks. Signing off. This Kryptonite Dragon. Thank you for joining the podcast.